My story.
My story.
My story is a place of hope and healing for all people, men, women, veterans, young adults, teenagers, and even children. Everyone, regardless of their social status or sexual orientation. It is a place of motivation and inspiration. My story will talk about real life situations and real life stories because no one is immune to stress, depression, anxiety, and other mental health problems. And our stories resonate. My name is Grace Ngere, Suicide Awareness and Prevention Advocate. On today's episode, we will talk about when does a glass of red wine or rosé become a problem? Gray area drinking. What is it? Stay put. Hello and welcome to my story. How have you been? Today is another day that we have a beautiful lady over here and I'm so happy to have her and she'll tell us who she is. But for now, stay right there, get a cuppa, sit down and listen. This is gonna be inspiration, trust me. All right, Miss Lucy, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm fine and thank you so much for coming.
Yeah.
I'm so happy, I am so humbled.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. So, I want us to tell us about you. Tell us who you are. Tell us a little bit about you before we dive into why we're here.
To the meat of the stuff?
Yes.
Okay. My name is Lucy, like you mentioned.
Yes.
I'm a mom.
Mm-hmm.
I am a mom of 3 girls.
Yes.
And professionally, I'm a nurse, just like you.
Yes.
I'm sure your viewers know that.
Yes.
I'm married to a wonderful man. We live here in Washington. Lived here a couple of years. I love it here. I love the outdoors. Love everything about it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I do for the most part.
Uh-huh.
I'm also back to school now. So it's work, school, parenting.
Yes.
Pretty much. Yeah.
That is America.
Yes.
And actually, not just America, that is what most people are doing.
Right.
Most people our age, I would say. And
Right.
I think it's great. It's great to empower ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to school, I am a big advocate of
Yeah.
that. I think that's the best thing to do in this world.
Exactly.
And for you.
Yeah.
And for you.
Yeah.
I always say, nobody will ever take your education away from you.
That's true. Even if you never use it,
Yes.
you still have
it's
it.
gonna always remain there regardless of what life comes after, you always have it.
You always have it. And that is so true. Because let me tell you, there was a time where I didn't work, and I'm sure we will get into this later as we
Yes.
talk about the story and why
Right.
I'm here talking to you. But there was
Yes.
a time it didn't work. I didn't use my degree at all for 1 year. And look, I was in that point here. I was just like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to do nursing anymore.
Right.
And so I took a year off. I
Yeah.
stayed home with my babies. That was 2021 after the
Yes.
pandemic hit.
Uh-huh.
And I just stayed home, and then eventually, as I rested, as I found myself, as I thought about what direction that my life I want to go, because I a lot of my life I did not like where it was at that point, and I was just rethinking what I wanted to do. And I went back to nursing, but I also went back with more enthusiasm. I was rested, I felt better.
Yes.
But again, like you just said, the degree was always there waiting on me, and I just
Waiting
picked
on
up right where I was. And I'm even, it's even better now that I went back to it. Yeah.
And maybe you have that pause.
Yeah.
Did something good for you.
It did, absolutely.
Yeah, that's something else I love about pausing. You know, sometimes when life is so overwhelming, it's okay to take a pause.
Take a break.
And they used to teach us
Absolutely.
back home, a pause is as good as a break. I never knew what really that meant.
Yeah.
But now I know better.
It is.
It rejuvenates you.
It rejuvenates you, and sometimes only you need to know that, because at that point when I was going through that, and then you'd find someone ask you, oh, why are you taking a break? You really don't need the money. You're a nurse. You do all this, make so much money. But my mental, and I'm so happy you talk about this subject. My mental health at that point was not good. I was not going to be able to continue taking care of other people when myself was broken.
Oh my goodness,
I was
right?
damaged.
Yes.
I did not, I did not find that will or that purpose to keep doing what I wanted to do. So I had to take a break for my mental health to get back. Then I went back and it was really good. So yeah, I love talking about this subject. I'm really passionate about it. So thank you for having
that.
me.
And you know what, me and you together, because I love that.
Yeah.
You say mental health, and you say you cannot take care if you don't take care of you. There's no way you'll be able to take care of others. And my favorite person, Oprah.
Yeah.
And through Oprah, I came to know Ian Lavanson.
Oh gosh. Oh yes.
That is they are my favorite people.
Me
and
too.
I go to them. And there's this quote they say, fill your cup. So that it overflows. Oprah says it in that voice, it overflows.
Yeah.
And that overflow goes to other people. So fill your cup
first.
so you'll be able to. As a nurse,
Absolutely.
you need that. As
You
a
need
nurse,
that. Yeah.
as a mental advocate, and I feel you are one too, because of your story. Feel yourself, and then it's gonna flow to other people. Now, this is really good so far.
Yeah.
And I was gonna before we go too far. You have somebody who is great on your side.
Yes.
On your side, you mentioned him,
Yes.
and I said we have to mention him.
Yes.
Tell us his name. Tell us a little bit about him, because I feel like women, when you have that somebody, whether it's your spouse, whether it's your partner, whether it's a friend that is back here and telling you go, just go. It's like a little baby when they're trying to walk and they don't know, they make the first step and they fall, but the mama is behind them, and I feel like you have that person behind you, because you came here with them, and I can already see that. I don't know, man. Tell us a little bit more about your best person.
Yes, my husband's his name is Ken.
Yes.
He has always been my ride or die. We are like this attached.
Yes.
And we've been together for a long time. He's probably the only adult that I have in my life right now, close to me, that is the closest thing that I have. It's not always been like that. It's not always been where we've had a pretty rosy relationship. We have come from far. We have been through a lot of hurdles. We've been through a lot of struggles. And when we start talking, we're going to talk about this story. Back then, it wasn't good, but my decision to improve my mental health status to be where I am right now, and then we have found ourselves reconnecting in ways we have never reconnected before. And our love for each other, our support for each other, what I do, what he does, has grown to another level. So this is not something that we've always had. We've always like this. No, actually, we've had to work for it, and that has just been recently. And one of the reason behind it is my decision to stop drinking, which is why we're here today. And because I decided to make that decision for myself first. It wasn't for him, it wasn't for my children, it was for myself. And then this is where we were talking about the cup. When I decided to do to make that decision for myself, it overflowed to all the relationships of my life. And the first relationship that was greatly impacted was my marriage was with my husband. And because of that, a few years later, even him himself, because of what I was doing with my own life, and even him, he decided, you know what am I doing too? I don't want to drink anymore. So now after that, we have just found each other. It's almost like you started a brand new relationship, because you're on the same page, you're on the same level. We have time for each other, we have time for our family, we have time to do the things we love together. And so that's my person. That's literally my best friend.
Wow, that is so empowering, that is so beautiful, and it resonates with a lot of us. I'll tell you that. When you fix you, everything else comes fit. And then the little things that were not making that relationship so perfect before, you don't even see them. And then you even wonder, why was it a big deal then? So our viewer, we're so happy you're here with us, because at the end of this conversation, I want you to write down and say what it's gonna do to you. And so far, I feel like you have already been impacted by Lucy. Lucy has a great story, and she, first of all, thank you for being vulnerable enough to accept. Second, I say there's always somebody who pushes you. I have my good friend called Gorette, and she's like, Grace, I haven't seen so and so. I was like, you know what?
I don't know if I told her this, but I had seen you from Gary Wainaina. Guys, you probably have seen Gary Wainaina. He has Kenya Marekani. He has the great interviews. You should go to his YouTube and support him, like his YouTube. He has great stories of Kenyans in the US. And so I saw your story there, and I was inspired.
Yeah.
I was inspired. And I'm all about people, when you get vulnerable, when you go out to the community and you want to change, to make a change through your story. You don't have to, but you decide to do it.
Right.
I think that is selfishness. Selfishness. Okay, wait. There's something else that Oprah says.
Selflessness.
I'm mixing the words. This is so authentic. It's real. It's real. No cutting, nothing.
Kizungu.
Exactly. So what I was trying to say is this. Ian Lavanza says that being self-full is not being selfish.
True. Yes.
Sometimes we feel like, so when you give your story, when I come here and I'm vulnerable and I say about my inner things that I wouldn't like other people to know.
Yeah.
It's not just being, oh, I'm talking about myself, I'm talking about myself, oh, things have been so good for me, you know, you're talking about how your relationship is now. Someone might watch there and think, oh, she's so full of herself. No, you're being selfless.
Yes.
Even though it's, you know, you're being selfless and self-full to you.
Yes.
To you.
Yes, I
you know,
get it.
accept
Exactly.
yourself and first feel yourself.
Exactly.
So I lost what I wanted to say there. But basically, we're gonna hear Lucy give us her story. And I don't want to preempt it. I want us to tell us, what is this story? You did talk about drinking, but tell us, how did this begin? And before you go there, your Instagram, it has a name. And I was like, I'm those people, when I say something, I want to dig.
Yes.
Like, why? I wonder how, like my story, I will tell you where my story would come from. You probably will see on YouTube. I'm not going to tell you. You go to watch. But anyway, any word, I like to think, why this word? Why my story? So I saw your name. The sober. Is it brown? Brown. I don't know why I wrote crown. The sober. Crown is good also.
Crown and queen go together.
Exactly. So why the sober crown queen?
Yeah, you know, actually, there's really not a whole lot of story behind that name.
Yeah.
It was just something that I thought resonates with me, suits me.
Yes.
I'm sober now.
Yes.
I'm brown, and I feel like I'm a queen. It just came together.
Yes.
Because it wasn't always that. Before, I had tried many names before, and then this is the. So when that name just popped up in my spirit, it's like, I like that.
I like
and that's what I'm going to go with.
Yes.
But now so when we were talking, you mentioned Gary Wainaina. That's how you saw me.
Yes.
And so in the beginning, I did. So do you want me to go ahead and
yes, go ahead
get the
and
story?
tell us, like, how did all this? How did they begin? Even before the drinking part, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Tell us, like, what brought? Because I feel like when we do something, and we talked about this before the interview. This it's like a vice. It's like something you go to because why? There was something happening. So
before.
something happened and then brings another. It's a chain.
Yeah.
It brings another. You know.
Right.
Effect. So what happened?
Right. So my story is the one, like, a lot of people go through when you use alcohol or when you use drinking as your vice, as that's something that you lean onto. And so it didn't always start like that.
Yeah.
You know, in college, where many years back, everybody did it. We are young, you party,
Right.
you go to the clubs,
Yeah.
you hang out with friends, you have no kids, you have no major life responsibilities.
So
It's
this is like
fine.
before in Kenya.
No, here in the States,
Okay.
So because I went to college here.
Oh, okay.
And so life was fun. It was good back then, you know.
Yeah.
You went home and you had a hangover for a day or two and nothing wrong, you know.
Yeah.
It was good. So, but now the thing is, eventually with life, as I grew older and I started having children, and now we in a marriage, and now you have, I'm a nurse, so my work responsibilities is more, and my life responsibilities is more, and now the stress is more because of life, and I started to rely heavily, or not heavily, but I started slowly to rely on drinking.
Right.
And so the worse my days were, the worse my life got, the more I relied on some wine here and there, some liquor here and there. And even at that point, it was still not a big deal to me.
Yeah.
It's because everyone else did it.
Right.
Everyone in my life does it. All my friends do it.
Yes.
We work hard during the week, which is what a lot of us, when diasporans, when you're living here in America, that's what we do. We work hard.
Very hard.
So I work hard, and then my weekends I play hard. I played extra hard, and with that is just the partying and the drinking. But now the thing is, recently, just before I quit, it was becoming to the point where it was too much. I was getting tired. I'm a little old, I'm not that old, but now hangovers, when they start lasting from 1 day to 2 days to 3 days, when you feel absolutely, you feel awful, you feel like it's not yourself, then I just had a lot of questions in my mind. Like, one, is this how I want to keep living my life? Is this what I want to keep doing? But then in our Kenyan culture, we have been taught two things. You either you stop drinking because you're an alcoholic, or you stop drinking because you get to be a Christian. I am a Christian. I've been raised in a Christian household, but that was not the reason why I wanted to stop drinking. And I also knew in my head that I am not an alcoholic.
Yes.
Because if I'm an alcoholic, then it means my life is fully dependent on alcohol.
Yes.
That I cannot do anything without it. That I will wake up in the, I have this picture of who an alcoholic is in my mind, and I am not one.
Yeah, and you do mention that on your Instagram.
Yeah.
Very often that kind of caught me. You don't have to be an alcoholic to stop drinking.
To stop drinking.
Yeah.
You do not have to be an alcoholic to even want to stop. You do not have to hit rock bottom. You don't have to lose everything.
Yeah.
You don't have to get DUIs to stop drinking.
Yeah.
You can just choose to stop drinking because of how alcohol makes you feel.
Yeah.
So for me, that's where I was. But when I wanted to stop drinking, I did not know that.
Yeah.
I thought that I had to lose everything. So there was a lot of disconnect in my mind between, I am not an alcoholic, I am not a Christian, I'm not saved, I don't want to stop drinking because I know I'm going to hell. That's not where I was. So the disconnect was like, now what? People that don't just stop drinking.
Right.
But it was the hard decision of, okay, I have to make a choice. My life, because when you're drinking, you think that when you stop, your life is going to be really boring.
Yeah.
And you're going to lose all your friends, and there's nothing for you to do. And I thought, if that's it, if it only involves about my life being boring, I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna dive into it. Let my life be the most boring, but what I do not want to feel is like this every day. So a lot of my Sundays, I love Sundays because a lot of my Sundays were spent in bed, very hangover, ashamed, feeling like a failure, feeling so weak and so stupid. I mentioned that in my Instagram a lot. That over drinking made me feel very weak, very stupid, very like a failure. Like, how is it that I have excelled or I am successful in every other area of my life than that? How is that possible? How is it that this is the only thing that I cannot seem to have control over? So for me, that in my head, that translated that I'm not as good. My self-esteem was very low. I must be unworthy. I'm not good. I was very anxious. My energy was low. Our marriage was struggling. It was horrible because when you overdrink on a constant level regularly, it will affect other people. So for me and my marriage, and overdrinking in front of my kids, passing out in the living room, in the bathroom, because we had way too much fun. And then the next day, you lie to them that you're sick, especially to our children. For me, I lie to them that I'm sick, but they know. Our children know you're not sick. We know last night you guys spent all night drinking, so you're not sick. And so that just made me feel so ashamed. As a mother and as a wife and as a friend, because again, when you overdrink, it kind of spills over to your friendships, and then you text things. Yes, right? You text things that you shouldn't have texted. You say things that you shouldn't have said. You do things you shouldn't have done. You post things on social media that you shouldn't have posted. And all of that had accumulated over time. And again, it was not a point that happened that maybe one because you meet some people and some people say, maybe I lost my loved one, I lost a spouse, I lost somebody, and then this was the thing that I leaned on to.
Yeah.
For me, and I know for many other people,
Yeah.
that's not how it happens. It's just something that happens gradually over time. So then again, we go back to the disconnect of, there's nothing hugely wrong, but how alcohol and drinking makes me feel, it's not me, you know.
It's not working for you. So my question is I'm thinking, when you're drinking, is it their joy? Like, are you happy when you're drinking with your friends?
That's what you tell yourself.
It's only telling yourself, so it's not real.
You know, I think the anticipation of it, the anticipation that this is the thing that makes me happy, produces, and I have read a lot of books. So for me, this is a topic that I'm passionate. I've read a lot of books. I educate myself in this topic. So just the anticipation of drinking will take away your stress. First, produces a high level of dopamine. So you and I are nurses, so I can talk a little scientific terms here, but it produces such a high level of dopamine. So you feel so good, and then when you actually have that sip of whatever it is, the red wine, the beer, and it satisfies that dopamine hit that is so high. Generally in life, dopamine does not get that high. It only gets that high when we receive very good news, or you have a baby, you get married, you get your house, you get your business, you get that surge of dopamine. But when you anticipate alcohol and when you actually drink, that level of dopamine is so high that nothing else in life now can compare to that. So your brain is looking at, there's nothing else that is worth the dopamine. There's nothing else that can satisfy me like the way drinking does. So when you live on that high level, fake level of dopamine, drinking every weekend or over the years, then life becomes nothing, pretty much. There was nothing in life that I had.
And the high is, I'm assuming, is that time.
Yes, that time.
Drinking, because in the morning, it's not there.
It's gone back down,
and so
down.
So now you are sad.
Yes.
And all these negative things.
You're depressed. You feel anxious. It's like you're way up there. Now you have all of a sudden come down here.
And then now you go looking for it again.
It's a cycle. Because now you have to bring yourself back up. And now if you have to go to work, if you have to do other things in life, you're waiting to go back there. You're waiting for the weekend so that it can come, the levels can come back up again, you know. So it's that cycle that you're talking about.
Goodness. Wow. This is sensitive. You did mention your kids. And before you answer that, we're going to take a break. But how, I know you say they probably knew. Did you see any effect?
Oh, yes.
On that?
100.
So tell us that when we come back. Coming up. So Lucy, we were talking about children. So what can you tell us about the whole period and your children? How was it?
So let me back step a little bit about how the over drinking began, so I can bring them in.
Sure.
So my life had gotten to the point where I was feeling very unfulfilled.
Our beautiful Lucy will continue her story on part 2. Check it out. It's loading. Also, check out these resources. Some are helpful with addiction, if you know anybody or if you are the one. Also, 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, a line to call or text if you are in crisis. Thank you. Bye-bye. Do not forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share this video. Also, enjoy the little joys of life. Okay? See you on the next video. Yours truly, Ngere G. Grace Ngere. Bye-bye.